Happy whatever day it is today for you.
Hola, welcome to Carly's Couch.
We are excited today because we have a special guest all the way from DC whom I met in undergrad and then just throughout life have grown into friends and all kinds of crazy adventures and different things. She is an entrepreneur.
I could tell some mischief by the way she over here giggling on the low.
The memories.
Oh my God.
Right, all of a sudden, it's all coming back to you.
She is an entrepreneur. She has a podcast and her name is Brashay. What's up?
I feel like we got to throw some claps on there. She did it first, so that ain't right. No, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we look forward to learning more about you, what you do, what you went through with your path. Before we get straight to talking to Brashay, though, we want to, again, thank everybody who downloaded the resource list. I had a few people who've tweeted me and said that they used some of the resources that we mentioned. So that's still on the website. You can go to carlyscouch.com and click on the resources tab and download that and get on our email list. Every week we send out a little something about the episode and show you the clips from YouTube, all of that. So we appreciate you guys engaging with us, leaving the reviews, all of that. So keep up with all of it.
Yo, we do. And for all the people who share their play stories, I so enjoyed.
Share them where?
On Instagram stories.
Ooh.
I know.
I was out
she was
the
MIA
game
last week.
for a minute. I ain't had a story in a minute.
But I really enjoyed it. Like people were playing like hot lava, like walking on curbs and
that is real.
like different
actually.
stuff. Yeah. So big shout out to Taysha. She showed all of her play time stories. And
She must have just tagged you. I just didn't see it. My bad.
She tagged you too.
Nah, I ain't had no notifications for that. I don't have nothing in my DMs, but it's cool. She must have tagged the wrong girl, wrong Lextopia.
Oh man.
So the girl got all the notifications.
But I don't know. But I didn't see that many. If it was
you got
a lot,
catfish out here.
maybe. No, actually, I did. There was now we're going off topic. But
That's cool.
man, this was so long ago. But it's just creepy out here in this world. But somebody had made I love Lextopia, and I was like, who made this? And then they used a picture from like 2011. So it was like my eyebrows was all extra thin and shit. And I was like, man, come on. Back when you still putting all the extra filters on this shit, so it was like mad faded. I was like, man, at least let me give you a good photo.
Use something recent, something nice.
But at the time, that was maybe a couple years removed. But I'm like, why use this old picture? But then they never did anything. So I just kept my eye on it for a second. But then somebody has also DM me pictures from like Tinder or something. But it was like in New Jersey or somewhere. Like, I think somebody's using your pictures. And I was like, well, enjoy, love. Go on that date. Have a good time getting robbed.
Right.
Same thing if it was me. Like, whatever.
Same outcome.
Hot girl summer. Let's
They
go.
gonna message you like, hey, can you take a picture with a fork?
Right.
I need to send you to get some money.
I was dying laughing too because the other day I saw somebody was tweeting their convo with a person. And they were like, well, show me 3 fingers. And it was a picture of the girl like this. And he was like, nah, but with just your fingers. And then it was clearly a man's hand. It was like brown. It was like a totally different color. Nails. And he was like, oh, my nails ain't done. But it was like a guy's hand. So I was like, he was like, nah, you a guy, bye. Like, you really got to be careful out here.
You really do.
You got to.
Like, dating is so hard now. I've been removed so long.
Just
from
period.
dating.
Thinking about like even having regular conversations where you think you know who you're talking to. You really have no idea who you're talking to.
Which is wild, and people are also wild. The last random thing that I share, one of my homegirls posted like something from her Instagram DMs, and the dude was like, yo, like, I'll pay you, like, send me some feet pics.
Yeah.
And she was like, should I do this? And then like he
But if you
replied,
don't, you're kind of losing. You should do that.
yeah, and he was like, no, I'm for real, like I'll pay you.
I definitely got a DM like that, like
Yeah.
not too long ago.
Yeah.
But did you send the pics?
I sent him my Cash App. I said, if you want this, Cash App me first, a deposit, and then you'll get a picture, and then we'll move forward from there. He wasn't serious.
Nah, my friend made fun of me because somebody, I had a selfie in my story or something, and somebody was like scam me or something. And I was like, okay, here's my Cash App. Send me $5 and I'll send you some pictures. And they sent me the money. And I was like, consider yourself scammed. and my friend Damo was like, wow, that's really how it goes. I was like, I guess. I don't know.
Should have asked for more than 5.
Right. I was like, send me some. No, I think he just sent, I was like, here's my Cash App. And he just sent me like $5. I was like, bet.
Somebody who started following us on the podcast, but then like I guess found my Instagram from there, was like, yo, at least let me send you money for breakfast or lunch. I was like, I mean, but Cash App and all that stuff is my name. So
Right.
you trying to send it.
It's like, and I'm not mad at anybody. Like, it's not like you're one of those people like online begging, because there's a lot of people who beg too much. Like, here's my Cash App, send me something, do this. And it's like, okay, girl, like, let them just say something to you. And then it's like, here you go. Like, I didn't ask you for nothing. Like,
no harm, no foul.
right.
To me.
If you want to bless somebody, bless somebody. You can't block people's blessings.
Exactly.
Look at God.
Some people like to give.
They do.
They probably coming from a bad mental space, but I appreciate it.
Well, my bank account
look,
appreciates it.
Alexia Clancy on both of mine. Venmo,
Carly
Cash
Carpio.
App. No, but my junk got broke into. I think that's why I got my card taken. So
Oh, no.
so only if you're putting in, not trying to take out. Although it's not much in there. We're gonna come back to you though, Brashay. Don't worry about it.
I'm not taking my earrings off the fight.
Right.
Look,
we gonna get back
They
to
were
you.
in the headphones, so.
Yeah, it is kind of a lot.
I know, because one day I wear super cute earrings trying to be cute, and then I was like, nope, that hurts. Can't do that.
I'm all about comfort.
Okay, so Brashay, tell us about yourself. What do you do? Who are you?
I am first and foremost a mama now. I
Okay.
feel like that takes over my whole identity. But I am a virtual assistant. I started my business last year, and I've been working this year to kind of like, lay that foundation. Like when you first start a business, you don't want to start it off rocky, and then you have to go back and like do like taxes and make sure you got all your receipts together. So I've been really trying to focus on building from like a really solid foundation with my business. And what else do I do? Nothing, because I'm a single mama.
So can I ask you about what you already said then now? So you say you're trying to get your foundations in order, but you've already started it and it's operating and everything, right?
Yeah.
And what's it called?
It's called The Task Takeover, thetasktakeover.com. If you
I
want
like
to
your
check out.
site.
Thank you.
That was making me wish. I was like, damn, I do got some stuff that needs to get done.
I enjoyed making it. That was the second site that I made. The first one was for my podcast, the Mama Bear Podcast. And that was just fooling around. I started the show because I hated being a mother and I needed to talk about it. And my best friend, one of my best friends, we've known each other since I was 3, she was 4. She became a mom 6 months before me. So it just worked out perfectly that, we were experiencing this thing. Our lives have always been parallel to each other in a way. So this was just another run-of-the-mill parallel thing.
You grew up in the same place?
Yeah, we grew up in the same place, same church, and we left the church together, too, because it was kind of toxic. So we have that type of bond.
That's your best friend?
One of them. My other best friend, Alicia, is her LS.
Hey, what's up, Lish? Lish be listening to the podcast, too.
In between listening to her lessons.
I'm about to say, she be studying, and she'll send me a screenshot of, like, the podcast and her, like, law stuff. And I'm like,
So we talk about it, because I listen too. But, so started the podcast. That was my first introduction to, I like doing this. I would like to do this for other people. And I've always been a behind-the-scenes helper type of person. My mom is the same way. So I grew up watching her, like, plan different birthday parties for family or whatever the case. And I got that from her. And I don't like attention. So even coming here right now, I was just like, oh, my God. Me in the front, but I'm used to like coordinating things. Like I've been coordinating with Carly trying to get one of my clients on here, and she was like, well, why you playing? I want you on there. I was
exactly.
Like, that emoji.
That's my favorite joint right now. That's my favorite emoji right now.
I'd be like, what's up, Lex? Just send me that. I'm like,
right,
like that was literally my face. I was like, sure, because I know for what I eventually want to do, I need to put myself out there a little bit more. So this is me practicing. So thank you.
You have such a bubbly sparkle right now.
Thank
so
you.
This is my first time meeting Brashay and seeing her. I've spoken to you before. But yeah, you have such a good presence. I like it. It's giving me energy, so I appreciate it.
I try. Like this is nervous energy coming out too. Once you get to know me, I'm real chill. Carly can tell you I'm
you're not
chill.
OD right now though.
No.
Like you're not that excited.
No.
no, she's
It could be
real
a little
chill.
more excited, but
It'll never get that way. It'll never get
Right.
that excited.
right. And then you have to take a nap afterwards. Like
Because all my energy is gone. But so I do the podcast. It made me realize I wanted to do something like that. Then I was at this dead-end job. I hated it. I was a property manager, and I was hired as an assistant, but they never had a manager. So technically, I was the manager.
They played you.
They
played
me.
you, bro.
Played me. I should have been making like $15,000 more dollars. I was
At least.
and I was working 6 days a week with a newborn.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was still breastfeeding, which is terrible. Like, I hated every minute, but I had a goal of doing it for a year. So I pushed myself, and mentally I pushed myself to a brink where I will never push myself again. Like, if I have a goal and I know that it's weighing on me, I'll just stop and recenter before I try to accomplish it to the detriment of my mental health. And that's what I was doing.
So with your timeline, what was first? The podcast or are you starting your
podcast
business?
First.
So that's been going on for a while.
Our first recording, we didn't launch it until October of last year, but our first recording was in April of last year.
Okay.
'Cause she's a teacher, so we use the summer to kind of like
Yeah.
stock up on some episodes.
Oh, that's good.
That's
And
super
then
dope.
put it out. We're on a break now because just life,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're coming back this summer.
Okay. And then you quit your job, or what happened with your job?
They let me go. And I was so happy. My manager came in there. She said, the owners, keep it real, they were white men. And I never cowered at anything. Like, they wanted to push blame on me, and I never allowed them to do that. I knew my time there was going to be short.
Good for you.
But I already had my LLC for my business. I was already like just learning about what a virtual assistant is, what they can do, which is anything that they know how to do. You just outsource that service to people. And just learning from about October to December-ish. And they let me go 2 days after Christmas, 1 day after my birthday
Of last year?
of last year.
Oh, so it's recent.
Yeah, so I'm new in this. That's why I'm trying to lay the foundation.
Yeah.
And when she let me go, she was shocked at my response because I said, "Thank God."
Right. Isn't that funny how sometimes like stuff happens and you be like, I needed that because like I'm good. Like something it could be totally bad. You don't know what you about to do tomorrow, but it's like it wasn't that.
Yeah.
So you needed to be pushed in a different direction anyway.
And you might not. It might have taken you longer to leave.
Oh, it
right?
definitely would have taken me longer.
And so
to
the
leave.
universe had to be like, nah, fam, you done.
And I was only there because I had to take that job. Like, I'm not sure when the last time me and Carly really talked, but you know what happened with my son's father. My son's father got locked up 2 months after he was born. So that's February of 2018. Yes. The years. Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
that's
it's
like a year.
a baby
ago.
still.
He was 2 months old on
Biscuit.
the day, a little biscuit. The last time I was out here, side note, sorry, I was pregnant. So she saw me.
Okay.
And he got locked up, which forced me to find that job because I need a different schedule, which then forced me to start my business because I hated that job. And now I'm here. So I try to look at, where could this propel me? Why am I going through something? But it was hard, but I tried to keep that positive outlook throughout, the storm of 2018. That's what I call my year. But I see where it has brought me now, and for that, I'm grateful, so.
Where do we learn that, I wonder? Because at some point, too, when a lot of bad things happen, you're like, okay, what? Like, you immediately just go, all right, what am I supposed to be doing? But I can't remember when that happened because I'm sure that before that, like, you're just like, falling apart and everything. And maybe it's just having gone through BS enough that now you're like, all right, you can look back and see how everything's always worked out.
That's how it happened for me. Like, just things that I've gone through in the past, and I've gotten through it. So I've always tried to keep this is a part of your journey. And if you just keep moving forward, you never know the path where it's going to lead you. So every day, just wake up and make it to the next day. No matter what you're going through. Like, and it was hard last year. But I'm a totally different person. I cut my hair.
Of course, that's how it goes.
I cut my hair.
And them curls flourishing.
Thank you. But I'm just a totally different person, and I know that I am who I am today because of last year.
Yeah.
And I am a businesswoman now because of the terrible job that I was forced into because of my circumstances. Because I was the reason I started a business is I can do business better than them, and they have a family business that's been around since the early 1900s. If they can do it, I can do it.
A lot of times, the only difference is resources and overhead. Because sometimes that bothers me in the same way, where I'll see a whole company or whatever, and they're doing all these things. But I'm like, yo, y'all don't even know what you're doing really. But like,
Exactly.
how are you getting all these accounts? And like,
Yep.
somehow you're like doing all this business, but you're not really doing anything. And I'm like, what's the difference? Because I feel like sometimes in our communities, like we can start stuff and we like overwork or like, you know, undercharge and all of that. And it's like we're hustling and we're providing better, but yet we're not in that same space sometimes.
And that's all it takes is like opportunity. I got my first client a month after being let go, almost to the day.
Yeah.
And again, that was through my mom knowing someone who knew someone who needed some help.
How do you like being a virtual assistant? I
love
love y'all.
I love it because I get to do my work at my own pace. And I don't have to go into an office if I don't want to.
But do you feel like you're caring for people kind of in the same way as like having kids?
Oh, hell no. Because they're paying me. Kids don't pay you. They take everything. They take everything.
Yeah, it's different when
from
it's like an
you.
obligation, huh?
Yeah, and it's a mental break from mothering.
Yeah.
Because when I'm on a computer, that's like a lone headspace. Like I'm doing if I'm doing a newsletter or scheduling social media post, or if I'm working on the gym schedule. One of my clients is a cycling studio. And if I'm working on their schedule, whatever the case may be, like that is a totally different part of my brain that I use than when I am mothering. So it's a vacation from mothering for me because I get to actually do something I enjoy. Because I don't enjoy mothering. So that's what I like to do, have my alone time, get my work done. That's why it's called the task takeover. I'm a to-do list person, and I like to check things off my list.
Yeah.
I just like to make the list.
Exactly. I like to make lists. Checking things off is a whole
All right, then
different
I'll be
thing.
like, emoji.
But so rewinding just a little bit. So you were working at this job and hated it, but necessary evil, right? Had to pay bills, have to do what you got to do. Whenever you decided to start a business, how did you come across like virtual assisting? Like how did your mind get there?
I honestly can't remember how I found out about it. It could have been a Facebook group. It could have been a social media post on Instagram. But something sparked and was like, virtual assistant. Let me click on that, see what that's about. And again, I'm at my little dead-end job. I'm like researching from there. And I remember the conversation. I walked to Chipotle, talking to my mom on the phone. I said, I know what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I don't know the time frame. I don't know how I'm going to do it. But this is what I want to do. And that was in October.
Yeah.
And from there, I just worked on it.
Can I commend you real quick? Because, you know, I've been like an outside, like I've seen this kind of from the outside. So Brashay hit me up and was like, you know, I listened to this episode of y'all on the couch, and like, first of all, I really like the podcast, but also like it kind of inspired me to do my own thing. Next thing I know, I see her on social media, like asking people, like sending out questions like, well, if you had a virtual assistant, what would you want them to do? And doing all of these things. And her business happened so fast. Yeah. Then she hit me up and was like, hey, for the podcast, what do y'all use for this, and this? The next day they had a site. Like she, like everything, and just so taking action, like Lex talks, like that's her thing, is like taking action. And so just seeing your like transformation,
That's motivating
growth.
to see.
Oh my
I
God,
always
you're
tell my
so
friends that.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like when I have my mind on something, for the longest time, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
But once you know.
But once I figured it out, I was going to go all in on it because it took me almost 30 years to figure out what I wanted to do. And I like to just get things done. When I have that spark, even coming to LA, I wasn't coming here 2 weeks ago. I bought my plane ticket like a week and a half ago. The opportunity presented itself. I talked to you. You said, well, why you at it? You know, I'm going to have you on the couch. I was like, well, shit. I just got to move. You know, I'm just moving and I'm going with the current. Don't know where the current's going to take me, but I got faith that it's taking me in the right direction. So I like to move when I feel it in me to make a move, I do it with anything.
Is that how you know it's right? It's like an internal instinct?
Well, I don't know if it's right. I'll find out if it's right when I do it.
I guess whatever moves a person to actually do something. I don't know if right's the right word, but that's what you should do.
Yeah. Like when I feel it, like I have to feel it. And now I know the feeling. Before you don't know the feeling.
I was going to say that I think a lot of times most people are kind of moving where you're not feeling what you're doing or you're not feeling it day to day. And so it's exciting to all of a sudden you feel something. You're like, oh, like maybe you didn't even realize how dissatisfied you were or how you were feeling about it until now you're actually excited about something.
Yeah. Or to even know you can be that excited about things.
Exactly. Because I don't get excited. I'm not excitable. Like I cannot see someone for a long time and I see them, oh, hey, what's up? You know, like I'm not that excitable except for Carly because she just gives me that. But when I get excited about something, I know that that's my inner self telling me, girl, this is something you really want to do. So I just try to do it, try to listen to myself more. I guess that comes with age, with experience.
Yeah.
And I think becoming a mom changes you so much that I listen to myself way more now because I feel like I'm a freaking superhero. I made this baby. I'm caring for this human. What can't I do? It really gave me that outlook on life. Before I was more hesitant about taking risks, you know, like staying in a job that I didn't like. But with a baby, it encourages me to like just do because whatever I'm doing for the good of us.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to steer him wrong. So I got to listen to myself.
And sometimes I see the opposite where once you have a family or children, now you're like, well, let me stay somewhere stable or find another job instead of trying to start your own thing. So
I mean, don't get it twisted. I'm still on the job boards now. If something comes up, it comes up. But I'm not exhausting any of my opportunities or options.
Yeah.
But I am going all in on what I can go all in on and what I should go all in on right now, which is myself.
Yeah. And you have to in order to get to that next level to be in flow. Like you said, I don't think there's any right or wrong decisions, but like that had to happen so that you could become like grow and become this person so all of these things can happen.
And I like making mistakes. I do. I learned the best things come from making mistakes because who else are you going to learn from than yourself? Like you're the one doing the action. You know what your thought process was when you made the mistake. So now you need to go back, revisit that, and then make another decision the next time. If you're not learning from your mistakes, then you're just going to make the same ones. And I try my best to learn from any mistake that I've made in the past and put it towards, moving forward in a better way.
No, I love that. Do any like lessons learned or big mistakes kind of stand out to you that were like defining? And like
This
where
is
you
going to
are?
sound terrible.
you might as well take it there. You don't mention it a few
I know.
times.
In your head, yeah, you ready? Come on.
I still regret becoming a mother. I regret becoming a mother. And, put this water down. Like, I am getting comfortable saying that because it's not a bad thing.
Or it's a kind of common thing.
Yeah.
And I recently saw a conversation on Twitter around it, and it's one of those things where you can't just say that, and everybody's going to jump on it and stuff. So, like, the girl was getting attacked, but she was like, she has an open space with her friends where it's like, this isn't what I would have wanted. Like, and that's just honest. Not saying, like, she has the kid in the room, like, with the door closed or anything.
Right, no.
But I think that is fair because I think a lot of times whatever happened or is going on with us, we try to make it positive. I mean, it is positive. It can be positive, but like you try to be like, well, I'm blessed and da-da-da-da. And it's like,
You can't
no,
force
girl, you
yourself.
actually can't move around right now.
Right.
Like, let's be real.
You can't force yourself to enjoy something that you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't enjoy being a caregiver, which is ultimately what being a mother or being a parent is about, like there's people who now, if their parents were to, something were to happen to their parent, they're not bringing their parent into their home to care for them. They're going to send their parent to a home or something. Why is that? Because they're just not a caregiver. They can't give that.
Yeah.
But being a parent is that, but you have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a little kid, with a baby, or whoever, and they're yours, so you can't get rid of them. So you just have to suck it up. But that doesn't mean that you have to like it every moment. And I'm very honest about it online.
Did you feel this way before giving birth or when you got pregnant? Or like, how was that decision to have a child?
I made the decision because my son's father and I got pregnant like 3 years before that and didn't have the baby. So this was me like, I didn't have it the first time. I can't go.
It keeps happening, so maybe.
Maybe I should do
Yeah.
it, but I can't have another boy. Like, I can't do that. If I'm pregnant now, I'm meant to have this baby.
Yeah.
And that's what, even the conversation we had on the beach, I was talking about, like, accepting it and, like, this means something. Like, him coming into my life is going to mean something. Because I was still having reservations about being a mom. I just couldn't do it. Even now, I'll never have another kid. I know that. And that affects who I date now. That affects my future, my partnerships with someone. all of that stemmed from me becoming a mother, learning about myself. So back to the question, I did know when I was pregnant, it was like a might as well have it. He's going to be there. Not.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Like, were you kind of planning that you guys were going to be together and everything?
We were planning for, even if we weren't together, to co-parent in the same household. He's in New York. He was going to move down to DC, and we were going to co-parent in a way where I could still work my job that I worked on the weekends, and he'd take care of our son, and, we'll make it work that way. But 2 months after our son was born, he got locked up for the rest of the year, which changed the plan. So anyone I talk to now and they're talking about wanting to become a mother, I say, well, make sure you want to do it even if your partner's not around, because anything can happen.
I see a lot of stories, too, around couples who are seemingly close or whatever, but then having the child, it's like, nah, this is too much. And now all of a sudden it's like, Because you're looking at life through a different lens now. You really have a different lens of the type of partner that you would want with even if you're together, that partner it's a lot of added stress, too.
Yes. It may not be the type of partner that you want to continue being with, even with a kid, because you're seeing a different side of them now.
Yeah.
So just having children, it really is like brighten. Like it removes some type of, I don't know, outlook that you have, and you just, I don't know, it's life changing. It's just, to not sound cliche, it is really life changing, and you really don't know yourself in that way until you do it.
I can imagine that. And now when he got locked up, was it like, okay, we're going to figure it out? Or were you like, all right, like you already knew what time it was?
All right, I'm a realist.
Was you writing, was you sending pictures? Like, all right.
I sent him pictures of our son. And I spoke on the phone with him often in the beginning, just trying to coordinate lawyers and stuff. But I was like, I got to do what I got to do for us on the outside. You got family, they can help you with that. But my responsibility is this baby. So if that means not talking to you as much, because one, that's money. That's a whole nother conversation.
They be taxing.
Dog.
It's a whole nother conversation. Time. I just don't have time to try to figure out when are you going to call. I could be breastfeeding. Like, let me handle us on the outside. I'm going to make sure we good. You make sure you good when you get out, and then we'll figure it out from there. And but I never stressed him about anything while he was in, because he's going through something I would never want to experience.
Yeah.
And I just had to take one for the team, because this is now, my baby. Like, I am responsible for him no matter who is around. And that's something that I wouldn't have known or really experienced without having him.
Do you have the support of his family?
Yeah, his mom, we FaceTime basically every day.
Okay.
Nice.
We still do, even when he's out. Like, I'm like, oh, your mom's calling me. I'll call you back. His family is supportive. My family is supportive. But at first, I was kind of far away from my family. Living in Maryland, and they were like in the heart of DC. And my mom traveled a lot that year, so I felt alone a lot of the time. But I recently moved, and I am within a 1-block radius of my grandmother, my dad, my stepmother, my cousin, my aunt.
Oh, nice.
Like,
So you have a good support group close.
So you got community right there.
I have my community back. It's where I grew up, and I'm back where I grew up. So it's like everything is really aligning perfectly now after that 2018 year of my storm. So I'm happy now. Like,
you look like it. That whole weight, like you just look so much lighter, especially from the last time I saw you, and just having talked to you like off and on last year. Yeah, that's I was almost crying earlier, because I'm like, man, you just
I saw you. I didn't say
I called you out.
I wasn't gonna say nothing though, because I didn't want the tear to actually fall.
I have a question for you. How do you manage having thoughts in your mind about, man, I regret this, or I don't like being a mother? How do you manage those thoughts with your actions and like what's portrayed when you're with your son, or like dealing with your son?
I try to unleash all of that on his dad. But seriously, I don't think it's fair that if you're the primary parent and you're going through a lot, that the other parent doesn't get to, they don't know what you're going through, because they're not there on a daily basis. I talk to him every day. He's going to see our ups and our downs. Like, he's there. I want him to know, and it helps me out just to get it out, even though he tries to be comforting, but I'm like, you don't understand, because you've never had to be the primary parent like me. But I really try to just tell him, I cry. You know, I just let myself feel it in that moment because I know eventually whatever's happening to make me feel like this is going to pass. So I just experience it. I get my cry out, and then he'll bring me like a toy or something, and I'll be like, oh my God, you're so cute. And then it'll help me out and lift me up a little bit.
But do you try to catch yourself, like, to not be irritable or say something or not yell, but, like, you know what I mean? To, like, let it show.
Take it out on him.
To the kid.
Yeah, I try not to. Can't say that I do all the time just because I'm human. He may just be doing something, like, he likes to play with my ear. I hate being touched, actually. Like, so being
your own son.
So being a mother was really, I'm like, he's always on me. Like, if you talk to me all the time.
So you really didn't have that thing where it's like, even people who are real anti about stuff, when they have a baby now, they're all like, oh my God. Like, you were just like, nah, still same. Like, fall back.
That's how I know that's just who I am.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I love to be on him, but at a certain point, I'm like, okay. Go play, get off.
You're not going to
me.
be like the clingy mom. You're like, all right, here you go.
Yeah, the more he gets independent, the more I enjoy being a mother. So I think it's just that stage that it wasn't a fit for me. And I heard about that, like, different stages are better than others depending on who you are. So I learned I'm not a newborn person. Him now, we
cool.
That's my
I kind of thought about that before too. I'm like, I think I just want to be a stepmom. Like, they could be 6, 7. Like, cool, let's rock.
I'm gonna be a bomb bonus mom.
Because then, I mean, they not on you like that. You get to send them back, you know, but they're not like yours. You know, you get to love them because you love them, but not love them out of obligation. So sometimes you don't feel like doing it, but it's your obligation. Not to love them, but, you know, to do for them and be there. And, okay, let's play with your little drum. I guess I'll do it. I'd rather be scheduling this post, but put that to the side. So it's a lot of late nights for me. A lot of late nights because I work during the day, try to get, you know, personal stuff done during the day, pick him up from daycare, and then once I put him to sleep, like, you can ask Jordan, my other client, I'll be like, hey, I got poo. I'll work on that after like 8 o'clock or, you know, after 9 o'clock, I'll be able to work on that. So my clients get emails from me at like midnight.
So they understand like your schedule and stuff.
Oh, that's good. I was going to ask how you balance everything.
I'm real open. Like, I'm a mother and, you know, certain things come up, but whatever I do is always going to be like, you're in my mind. I'm going to get it done. I'm just going to communicate when I can get it done. Or if there's a delay, I'll let you know, hey, my son was sick for like a week and a half recently, and it was hell on earth trying to balance everything. But you get through it and you keep on going because that's parenting.
Yeah, that's kind of like as a entrepreneur, like even when you're kind of sick or something wrong, you're like, oh, everything's gonna be behind. So now it's not just you, but also your son. And do you work from the house?
I work from home sometimes, and then I actually go to the cycling studio to work because it's just, one, it gets me out the house.
Because I'm surprised that he's in daycare. I was thinking, if you work from home, but maybe that's too much too, distraction.
That actually was the worst. Before he was in daycare and I was trying to work and have him, that's when I was losing my mind.
I can imagine that.
I couldn't separate. I needed to separate the two, work mind and mom mind. And at that time, he was still, I mean, he's still clingy, but he was even more clingy, a little bit younger than he is now. He's 18 months now. So he was, like a year? All he wanted to do was be on me. He was still breastfeeding for a little bit. So I just couldn't I couldn't balance.
Yeah.
Was no balance. Ain't no work-life balance.
Did you have any difficulty with the pregnancy or with him as a baby? Or healthy and everything was straight?
Healthy pregnancy. He did come 4 weeks early. But that's just him being his own little person. Like, he's an old man. He got his own mind. He does what he wants when he wants to. And he doesn't do what he doesn't want to do when he wants to.
Sounds like your baby.
That is my child. He got it honest. But he came 4 weeks early. I had a C-section after like 22 hours of labor. But I did have complications afterwards. I developed postpartum preeclampsia, which many people don't know you can get postpartum. A lot of people know that you can get preeclampsia, toxemia. That's like what Beyonce said she had, you know. While you're pregnant, you know, you see someone with like the swollen ankles and like they have blood pressure. But I developed that after pregnancy, and I was hospitalized for 3 days, a week into having my baby. So that was scary because I was in the bed. My son's father was down at the time in DC helping, and I just was like, I don't feel good. Every time I lay back, I just felt like a weight on my chest. I said, I don't feel good. I need to call the doctor.
Yeah.
And he said, go to the hospital right away. I did, and they were like, we're so glad you came because it was not looking good. My heart rate was at like 44 beats a minute.
Oh my God.
My blood pressure is like 180 something over 110. And it was nothing that I was doing, you know. It's just something that developed. But thankfully, I listened to my body, went to the hospital, and I'm here. So I made it through.
I just wonder if there was any like resentment or like that it was hard too, you know, like like I don't want to be a mother and it's also hard, or like you were sick a lot, or
Well, I lost weight when I was pregnant. I look good. I gained all my weight from breastfeeding. So if anyone's listening out there,
how does that happen? How does that work?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, everyone tells you when you breastfeed you'll lose weight. That can happen. But then the opposite can also happen because one, you're sleep deprived. And when you're sleep deprived, you crave sugar. So I was craving sweet stuff, eating sweets and I'm not a sweets person at all. So I was craving that. I'm eating that. I don't have a sleep schedule. So right there, you can gain weight.
Yeah. Your body's just throwing off.
Exactly. Like, and then I was in a job where I commuted, you know, an hour and a half total, taking him down to daycare and then going to work. And I'm in the car that whole time. I'm eating. I'm hungrier than ever because I'm breastfeeding. So I just packed on the weight. And so some people may lose. Other people like myself
that makes
gained.
sense, though.
Yeah. I was always confused because I'm like, you also have to eat so much more because your body is producing.
And when I was pregnant, I lost weight. So I had like
Yeah,
the
you were
opposite
small.
of everything. Like I lost 13 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Pregnant to the point where they were like, we're going to monitor your weight. I'm like, I promise. I had food aversions, whereas other people have cravings and want more food. I wanted nothing. I had to force myself to eat. But health-wise, like physically, I was fine pregnancy-wise. But mentally, it was hard.
So what types of things do you talk about on your podcast? It's specifically about motherhood, right?
Black mothers. We've talked about our birth stories. We've talked about colorism and microaggressions that, you know, our children may face, and like how we can, like how we can deal with those things just as new mothers and just coming into situations that you never would have thought of. We've talked about, we have lighthearted episodes. We did 6 Brown Chicks one time just because we needed a mental break from mothering.
Yeah.
So this was our break. What else have we done? We've talked about homophobia and parenting. Just like what would you do, or how would you react if your partner, like after you have a baby and you find out that they have like some homophobic views and you don't know how your child is going to turn out. You don't know where their life is going to lead them, but you want to at least have a partner that you know that no matter who they become is going to be supportive. So if you have a homophobic partner, how do you deal with that? So we did an episode on that. It's really just whatever is inspiring us. Like online, we may see something. And then if we just need a mental break, we'll do something totally off of motherhood.
So what's the audience that you're hoping to reach or that you want to be listening? And if you could say that, and then again, give the podcast name and site again so that people can, if they're relevant to it.
The Mama Bear Podcast, MAMA Bear Podcast. The website is mamabearpodcast.com. And just hoping to reach Black mothers, Black fathers, anyone interested in parenting, because we talk about the ins and out of it. You will hear our children on there sometimes because we don't always have someone
That's real.
watch them. Makes editing hell though sometimes because those little screams are high pitched. But yeah, just anyone who's interested in parenting definitely should tune in.
And I feel like it's probably therapeutic for you doing it, right?
Yes.
Probably like how we always say that we would just do this if nobody was listening because we just enjoy, you know, having these conversations. And I feel like every time we have certain conversations, like the next week I'm more aware and open of whatever that topic is, or like how that really is operating my life. Because sometimes when you just ask questions, or you're like, oh, I want to think about this or talk about this, we're really just like discovering it as we're talking about it. And so now kind of apply and do things too. So I think that's
why we started
cool.
it. As a mom, as a new mom, you'll understand how much having support is important. And we realized that in our little journeys so far at that point, and wanted to extend that to other moms and say, you're not doing this by yourself, even though you may be, but you're not alone in your journey. Someone out there relates to you.
That's beautiful and so refreshing as someone who wants kids but does not have kids yet to hear like the real stories behind, because I feel so often on movies and different things, it's like all roses or it's all these things. And so to know that people go through very different things. Like you can want kids and have one and be like, this isn't for me, or the opposite, or somewhere in the middle. And that we're all a little bit different. So I think that's important. And I've listened to a couple episodes. Y'all are hilarious.
I mean, we've been friends for 20-something years now. So we sometimes even talk the same. We say the same things at the same time. Like we were like this growing up. We happened to go to different colleges and then, branched off like that. But we were like this.
Can I ask how you ended up in Oklahoma for college?
Oh, girl. Yeah. So, from D.C., I went to Benjamin Banneker Academic International Baccalaureate Senior High School. Anyone from Banneker will understand that.
That's so many words.
But Banneker. And there is a recruiter from Houston, Cedon Bradley.
Yeah.
He's from D.C. He recruits out of Houston, but he's from D.C. So he said, I want to go back to D.C. and grab kids from there to bring them out here because, exposure.
Yeah.
My mom always exposed me to different things. I've been out the country at 14 years old by myself from her. I like new places, exploring new places with new people. I enjoy that. So I'm like, I'll go for the free trip because they paid for the trip. Go out to visit, and I fell in love with the school. I fell in love with it. I said, this is a place I can see myself for 4 or 5 years. It was like a movie school. I'm from the city. My school is right across the street from Howard, my high school. I wanted something totally different for this chunk of time, this in my life that's different from any other time that I'm going to have. I wanted to be something different, something new. And I fell in love with Oklahoma, and that's how I know Carly.
I love how intentional that was. I don't think mine was that like me going to OU wasn't that intentional. But I just noticed we had a large population of kids from DC, and I was always confused as to why y'all picked Oklahoma, especially because I'm from there.
Because DC's not a state for now. We get to go to an in-state school, a state school for in-state rate. DC TAG program, they pay up to $10,000, the difference between in-state and out-of-state for DC students. So I could have gone to any in-state
that's dope.
school.
Yeah, we had a lot of DC, Maryland. They recruit heavy from there.
Yeah.
You went to Elon, right? My friend went to Elon.
Everybody was from Maryland and DC area.
Ashley, she's from Baltimore.
They had that accent.
Yeah, from Baltimore.
Yeah, it is Baltimore. But yep, that's how I met Carly. I don't know when we actually
Alicia.
met.
We met through Alicia, for sure.
Yeah.
Alicia getting all the love on the podcast. Hopefully you studying for your stuff.
Right. I'll call you after this, girl.
But any shout out, any plugs? Are you looking for new clients?
Can you get more into like what the services are with your virtual assistant business?
So, social media, that's what I do the most of right now for the cycling studio. I do social media. I'm scheduling like their Instagram posts and creating content for that. I do their newsletters. So if you do like a weekly newsletter, a monthly newsletter, I can work with that with MailChimp and Constant Contact. Those are the systems I've used. I do, if you need travel accommodations, scheduling, I can help with that. I do press releases. I can do an EPK for you. I can, even if you want podcast assistance, I can help with that as well. Like you send it over to me, you need me to snip it down, or you want to add some music here and there, I got you. But on my site, you'll see the list of services. It's like general administrative services and duties. You have podcasting, and then you have social media. So those are the three. And I'm always doing like a custom package for somebody. you'll see the packages on there. That's just, a general to give you an idea.
Yeah.
But I like to talk before I even quote you anything because I need to know the extent of what you're looking for. If I can even do it, and then based on what those factors, I can tell you, hey, this is what it's probably going to cost. I think it's best if we do like a monthly retainer, or this seems like it's more of a project. This is what the project is going to be.
Is it based kind of on how many hours of work you're doing with them? I first learned about virtual assistants in maybe 2013, 14, something like that, reading The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And he talked about even if you didn't have your own business or whatever, like just getting somebody and just think about like from getting your dry cleaning or writing down this list or researching a name of places of conferences, like all that stuff, like just getting somebody else to start doing stuff. And it immediately, because I had started my business like a year or two before, I could immediately implement that. And it was so helpful. Like it was so helpful. Like, and then the first girl, it was through Upwork. She was in like the Philippines. So like I had her.
There are a lot of VAs in the Philippines.
Like I had her doing stuff like do a spreadsheet of organizations I could reach out to with my services or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I had another girl who was at the time like in Ohio, and she ended up staying with me for like another 4 years or so. But because I found her off Upwork, but then I was like, all right, we're like working well together. So I took her from that, and like we really just had our own like contracts. But she was doing everything, and then she would do more of like the emails or manage like contractors and things like that. So it is really helpful. I think the biggest thing for listeners, if you feel like you might need a virtual assistant, is to know what needs to be done first. Because if you just think, okay, I need help, and you hire somebody, you're going to find out like you're doing it with them because you don't really know like how to tell them what to do. So like putting those things down of what needs to get done, and then being able to say, all right, here's the list of things I do. Like, what can you help with?
And that's like the first thing I ask when I'm doing a consultation. What is it exactly that either you need help with or that you don't like doing? Because you can know how to do it, you just don't want to do it. Just like you hire a
or your
housekeeper
time's more valuable doing something else.
Exactly.
Always.
Exactly. So like, what is it that you need taken off your plate? And then we'll go through that list, and I'll tell you if it matches up with what I offer. And if not, I even offer to help you find somebody else. Like, hey, there's a whole VA network out there.
Yeah.
And if I can't do it, somebody else will. There are VAs that do like payroll and HR for people.
Yeah.
That's not my lane. But if someone needs that, I can direct them to someone else who can do it.
That's dope. And where can they find, what's your website one more time?
TheTaskTakeover.com.
Yeah, try it. If you feel like you could use a virtual assistant, hit her up or think about like what you could take off of your plate, because you may not have thought about that before. And I think maybe a lot of people think like it's like hiring a person. It's not even like super duper expensive or anything necessarily. Like, and not like I'm trying to lowball you or anything. Like, but it's not like that scary of a process. And like it really is helpful to have somebody on your team who's just like, hey, this is what I need to get done. And like she said, she likes to check things off the list. So like just getting the stuff done.
It's a game changer. It really is.
It really is. And I'm just glad that I'm helping someone else's business. And I help other people succeed. Like that's what fulfills me. Always been that way. Even starting a dance team in college. I hope they still around. Essence, y'all still around? But I did everything. I did paperwork. I was like that. I don't know, that manager. And I loved it. So getting to do something that I love to do, and it fulfills me just as like the Capricorn that I am.
You'd probably be good as a producer.
I think I've been thinking about other things. I have been thinking about other things, even going into with my other client, Jordan, even going into being her publicist. Like I'm trying to transition into just like, as I do more work for her, I'm understanding what I like to do as well and other things. So it's been a really good journey. And one thing I do need, because I know you asked, like, what do you need?
I was just about to ask, what do you need?
Because I watch.
Shout out to the real ones.
Yeah. I need someone who knows business taxes to help me out, because I do it myself. But I would like to get my own person that does that for me. Just ins and out of, I have my LLC in Maryland, but I just moved to DC. I know I need to.
Mine's in Maryland.
Yours in Maryland too, and like the filing of the foreign entity and things like that. Like I know what I need to do, but I want to make sure I'm doing it the right way.
It's so much information too, and it's weird how like how intricate it is, and it's like, yo, just tell me straight up. Like, you can't even just Google and find like,
Nope.
do this, do this, do this, do this. It's like so different based on the state. But then you're like, well, I don't know which state like I should do, like how do I?
Yeah.
What makes the most sense? So you really do need somebody who knows the numbers.
Yeah.
And there was a young lady who has a business around that. She helped me organize my stuff because like I had to go back and like get my foundation stuff together. But I was like, here, girl, just you do it and tell me what I need to be doing. Like I wanted to understand it at first, but then I was like, whatever, just
Same.
set me
And
up
that's where I
right.
am too, because I actually need to go back and work on some foundational things. But I'm like, you can't even find the information.
Like like even finding the form needed to file. I was like, what is it? Is named something else? So if anyone out there,
And I think there's a lot of businesses around helping you start that and get your business together and stuff. And I'm like, man, that's kind of whack because like it really shouldn't have to go through that. So like when you Google, I feel like I just was finding people that you can pay and they do it for you. And I'm like, I just want to learn, like, what do I need to do?
Yeah, and I'm willing to pay someone to help me with my taxes. But if you want to give me advice on, like, filing and how to do that, that's that would be greatly appreciated.
All right. So if you that person, hit us up, let us know. Or if you have a good contact, like please hit us up. What's your Instagram?
Bree, spelled 3 different ways. So
Is yours private?
No, it's not private. It's BRIBREEBRIE. So Bree spelled 3 different ways.
Okay.
There you go.
So at Bree, when you're listening to this episode, tag her on there because she watches her messages, I think,
I do.
on Instagram stories.
And then, you know what's coming next is a question of the week.
Of course.
So
Y'all questions be deep. I be in the car like, shit, I don't know what I was saying.
Well, now you
and
got to
we gonna
answer.
put you on the spot. So, Brashay, where can you adjust your perspective?
All right. Where can I adjust my perspective? Well, I've been working on adjusting my perspective on motherhood, honestly, because I want to enjoy it. I don't want to look back and all of my feelings that pop up are those of resentment and so I've been trying to just enjoy him and enjoy the journey a little bit more because I'm learning that no stage lasts forever. So I'm looking back at the baby stages, looking at pictures, and I'm like, I feel bad looking at those pictures because I know how I felt during that time when they were taken. I don't want to feel like that now. So I'm adjusting my perspective on motherhood and just trying to make sure that I'm in the moment more with it so that, he has a better me. Because when I'm good, he's going to be good.
Yeah.
I like how you claim the reality of it, though. Like you don't have to fake it, but you know what it is. But at the same time, you're also like, all right, but I do want to present better.
Yeah.
Or to maybe not necessarily feel different, but like to approach it in a different way.
Change
But
your
what
approach.
it is, what it is, though.
Exactly. Like I said, I am real. Like, it is what it is. This is my situation. I just got to figure out how to move in it.
Okay.
I love that. What about you, Lex?
A perspective I've had recently has been difficulty and frustration and irritability with people that I need to work with. I'm used to being such a lone wolf for the most part, and doing more team-based work and activities is frustrating. And so I've had to catch myself and change my perspective to look at it as, all right, this is an opportunity to learn how to be a better leader and also to listen more and to have the perspective that it's not something to blame somebody else because they do things differently. But now, all right, how can I learn how to better work with this person or work with this group or these people in a way that things get done efficiently, but I'm not waiting for something from them. They're not waiting for something from me, but like getting that communication together. So kind of adjusting it as a new challenge to see how I can grow from that.
Yeah.
No, I like that. And that's real, especially that transition of doing things yourself and then now working on all these different teams with different personalities, different backgrounds, learning people. My perspective that I'm working on changing is giving myself more credit for stuff. Like, I feel like a lot of times I'm like, oh, I don't have enough experience for that. Or like, oh, I'm not really doing the work yet because I'm not where I want to be in the future. And that kind of discounts like where I am right now, like all of the changes, all of the progress, all of the work that I currently do. And it was actually in the episode that we had that made me think about it, because you asked me like what I do in the community, and I was like, well, not all of these things. And I sat back and I was like, actually, I do. I do a lot of things. And so just kind of sitting with that, and also looking at like why I might be thinking those things, or why I have been discounting that, which is like the deeper issue for me.
Or sometimes it's like, why do I not recall? Like if somebody asks you a question and it's like, I know I've done a million things, but it's like sometimes you need to like write things down. I like it with our planner how it asks like good things that happened this week, because then I've gone back and be like, oh, I forgot about this stuff. You know, like I wasn't thinking about it anymore.
Because sometimes when you're so focused and doing, it's not registering like, oh yeah,
and especially when you're always focused on being better and doing more, you don't think about like all these things that have happened and are happening as much as you should.
Yeah.
One day at a time. Brashay alluded to that, has been a game changer for me too, and I think that's a really good way to operate, where you wake up and I need to do what I can do today, and go to sleep, and the next day you do it again.
Every day is day one.
Yep.
Every
I like
day.
that. I like that a lot.
Well, thank you so much, Brashay, for coming and sharing your story.
Having me.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I was so nervous, but I feel good now.
You did good.
She
too,
came in
but I
here
learned some
smelling
stuff.
good,
Right.
smiling.
Thank you.
Happy, again, whatever day this is. Hope y'all have a beautiful week. Feel free to screenshot, let us know you're listening. If you have any feedback, or if you know a person who does business taxes for Brashay, please hit us up.
Hit me up, please.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Bye.